Hello, everybody. I'm Alexei. I'm one of the two members of Monica. I'm here on the behalf of Regis Freud, who's seeing us. He's the core member of Monica and the creator. I will present you Monica, the personal relationship manager, and then I will share with you some details about the project. So the idea with Monica is you want to remember things about your contacts, like personal information, relations, family, etc. You want to remember activities, notes. But like me, your memory is not very perfect. So you want to remember these things, but where to store this data? You can left this data on Facebook or Google, but it's not what we want to do on our file or another contact manager, but it's not perfect. So the answer is Monica. It is for the contacts you care about, and from the contacts you want to remember things. So it's about your friends, family, and colleagues, and more. But what it is not a social network. The data you will register will never be shared with other users of an instance. It's not a file hosting system. There is better software. And it's not a robot with some AI. The reminders that you will give, it's only sent because you want to send it. The features of Monica, you can see it like an address book of your phone, but with more features. You can manage contacts and add relationship between the contacts. You can add birthdays, contact information, add avatars, etc. You can add reminders like birthday or stay in touch. You can add tasks, notes, activities, life events. You can add debts you own or gifts you made from your contacts. You can add, you can geolocalize addresses. You can have weather information, upload documents, export a V-card of one contact, and conversation, phone calls, and even have a personal journal. We also have a REST API. The application have 15 locales, and we also implemented multi-factor authentication like 2FA or YubiKey, and voila. It looks like this. So it's a web application. Here you can see one detail about a contact, and we have more pages, but there is still some work to do because we want to improve the interface. Recently we implemented CardDAV and CalDAV. We need your feedback on this because we are not sure it works well, but we will try it. We want to add notion of groups of the Me card. And we also want to improve security because it's very important. We don't want to leak the data outside. A word about the mobile application. We know it's a huge demand by a lot of users. Today we do not have a mobile application. We started to create an application called Chandler, but its maintainer is no longer in the process, so we need you. So if you are interested in developing this mobile app, you can contact us. So how to use it? You have two options. The first one is use our hosted version on app.monicahq.com. On this instance, there is no user tracking, no Google Analytics, or I don't know, like on the main monicahq.com. or you can install it on your own server using the sources or the Docker image, or there are other solutions, and I'm sure you can handle it if you want to try. Okay, so now some details about the project, but first of all, what it is made of? It's a Laravel-based application, so PHP, if you know, and a lot of Blades templates and Vue.js pages and CSS. The application, the idea comes from Regis and was the most voted story on Hacker News in 2017. In 2018, it was for 2 months the most PHP training repo. Today we have 6,060 stars on 6,600 stars on GitHub. It was one of the open source rookie of the year 2018, and we have more than 140 contributors. Our development guidelines is like this. So we prefer to ship little features often and improve it over multiple iterations rather than release one big feature at once. So we prefer to do it like this. What it is to work on an open source project like our own. What we learned is today we have a lot of GitHub issues, and it is difficult to sort them. What we learned is you don't want to agree to everything. You do what you want with your project. It is what we try to do. So it's like the same on the pull request we got. We do not want to accept every pull request because sometimes the code will be babysitted by the owner after a merge. So sometimes even if the code is really good and the quality is here, we have to reject it, but it's heartbreaking, but sometimes we must do, because we want to do what we want with our project. So what we are trying to do is an application for everyone, an application fully tested, and an application with which we can have fun. So we want to learn and have fun. So an application for everyone has to be simple, fast, and reliable. It's the keyword we have in mind when we are trying to do the interface. But it's not all. Everyone means everywhere too. And a word about the local. Today we support 15 locales with country specificities. And how to do that? The internationalization process, we use an external tool called Crowding. Crowding is has been very helpful for us because the translation process is very hard to maintain. And we have a special attention to localize everything for land specificity, country specificity, for collation, and for the direction, left to right, right to left. It's important for us because we are translated in 2 languages with R to L direction. And what it is, to support the RTL and LTR, it's not simple as adding the dir attribute on the HTML tag. Example here, in English you see the buttons on the right top are right aligned, and if we just do that in Hebrew, the buttons are not aligned. And the reason is the class here, header nav, is not right. So We have to first detect the language and direction. We have two CSS files, a main file on the left with an HTML property, and a second file that redefines this HTML property. So then we can use this HTML property and use the right CSS file to fix the alignment. So we also want a fully tested application. What you need to have a fully tested application is obviously sources, test. You want to run the test with code coverage and report. In Monica, we have a test, unit and browser test. We have a CI, we use Circle CI. The unit test use PHP unit and PHP DBG, and the browser test use Laravel Desk, and we have live code coverage on the little server. And for the reporting, we use Sonar Cloud. It's a very useful tool. Currently, we have 68 PHP percent code coverage. As you can see, we have reached peak, and the next percent are difficult to gain, but we can do it. Our current CI use Circle CI. The workflow of Circle CI is very great. We use a Docker image, and we create a Docker image called CentralPerk to test Monica. So we have two workflows, build and test and deploy workflow, and it works. It's very great. And a word about the recent improvement from Taylor Otwell. Only by adding this line on the create application trait, we gain about 30% time on the running test, on the unit test. So it's a very nice optimization. So all this CI work thanks to this software, this company, and it's very useful for us to have all this company for the open source. Okay, to finish, we want to have an application we have fun developing. A Laravel application looks like this. So the controller in the center needs data from the database, and behind there is a model. But if the controller is a view controller or an API controller, sometimes they need the same data, the same code to call the operation on the database. So the solution we implemented on Monica is using services. The logic will be handled by the same services if it's a view or an API controller. Here you can see an example of one service. It's a service to create an address, you can see. And the view controller uses the service to create the address, and the API controller uses the same service to create the same, to do the same thing. So it's handled by the same service behind, and it's very nice to develop like this. So we have fun in developing this application. To finish, if you want to help us, we always need help for the code or to discuss the features on GitHub issues. We also want help and feedback about the interface. If you want to add a new local or fix the translation, you can do it on the coding project of Monica. And like I said, we need help about the mobile application. And that's it. So if you want more information, you can go on monicahq.com. And thank you for your attention. If you have some questions,